So guys, now we will do the practical explanation of whatever we did. Okay, so we want to for example, let me open my website, and there if you go into account and click on login. Okay, it is already login, so let me log out. Yeah, so here we want to test for a particular username. Okay, so for example, I already created an account using this username Selenium, and one of these is the exact password. Okay, so I want to check for every particular password, and if one of them is correct, then it will show you that it is passed, else it will just show you that failed or something like that. Okay, so for that, obviously I need to go into over here, and here I want to import from Selenium import WebDriver, right? And also we want to import this OpenPyXL because we are going to perform some operations using Excel files, right? Because these are stored in an Excel file, that's why. Anyway, so let's go over there, and now we want to store the path of the Chrome driver. Okay, so I'll just copy the path from here and paste it over here, and then we are going to open the driver, right? So I'll just write over here driver is equals to webdriver.chrome, and in the parentheses we are going to pass that particular path, right? And then we want to open driver.get this particular site directly, okay, the login section. And yeah, after that we also need to store the path of that particular Excel file. So I'll just write over here excel underscore path, and that will be equals to let me copy it from here and paste it over here and change the file name with login. I guess, yeah, it is the file name. Let me check. Yeah, you can see this is login.xlsx, right? So yeah, perfect. And also we want to maximize the window, right? So we are going to write over here driver dot maximize underscore window. Perfect. So let's run it and see. You can see it is loading that particular login section, and it is going to maximize the window. Perfect. So let's minimize it, and now we are going to send the username and password for every time, right? So for that, obviously we need to get the XPath of this particular section. This is this input tag, and the name is actually username 455, right? So I'll just copy the name. Instead of writing XPath, I'll just write username is equals to driver dot find element by name. Okay, where is that? Find element by name. Yeah, and here I'll paste that particular name. And similarly for password equals to driver dot, let me just check it out. Okay, the name is this one, right? So I'll copy the name and paste it over here, driver dot find element by name, and here I'll paste that particular name. Okay, perfect. So now we initialize the username and password section. Now we have to send the data, right? Before that, obviously we need to import the data, right? So I'll just write over here workbook equals to openpyxl dot load workbook, and here we're going to pass this particular Excel path, right? And then we want to activate that sheet. So I'm just writing sheet equals to workbook dot active. Okay, perfect. And now also we need the number of rows, right? So we're going to write over here n underscore rows is equals to sheet dot max underscore row. Okay, that means it will store n rows equals to the number of total rows. Since we don't have any huge database, so we can only use single for loop because of these rows. Okay, because we have multiple rows, but columns are single, right? So we can just use for r in, and the column starts with 2 position, right? So you can see over here 2. So we're going to write over here 2 comma n underscore rows plus 1. Okay, and then we have to store the particular username and password, right? So for that I'll just write over here user underscore data is equals to, that means it is the username of the first row, okay, first this one Selenium. Okay, so let's go over there. Yeah, so I'll just copy it from here, the syntax actually, this one, paste it over here. Yeah, so you can see seat dot cell row equals to r and column is equals to 1. Okay, instead of writing c we have to write 1 and then dot value. So it is actually store the first username in this user data, right? Similarly, we also need the password of the first username. So I'll just write over here pass data, and that will be equals to sheet dot cell row equals to r, but the column will be 2, because we can see over here the column is password is in the 2 column, right? So yeah, after that we have to write dot value, and then we are going to send this data on that particular section, the username and password section over here, right? So we are going to write over here user name dot send keys, and in the parenthesis we are going to write over here user underscore data, right? And similarly we also need to send the password data. So over here I am going to write password uh, dot send underscore keys, and then we have to write pass data. Okay, so after that we have to click on this particular login button, right? So let's go inspect that element. You can see this is the login element and it has this id submit button, right? So let me just check the registered button id as well. Okay, okay, both are different, no problem on that. So let's write over here driver dot find element by id, and over here I'm going to paste that particular id. So let's copy this id from here, copy and paste it over here. Okay, and now we have to perform validation. Okay, because after sign in, whatever page is open up, we have to check whether it is opening that page or not, right, for every password. So let me just write the correct password from here, that is the username is Selenium. Let me copy this one, paste it over here, and password is this capital A B C D 1 2 3 4. Okay, I'm copying this one as well and paste it over here. And now if I log in, you can see it opened this kind of section. Okay, so for validation you can choose any one of them. Like for a validation you can choose the url, whether it is opening this url or not, or for example whether it is opening this title or not. Okay, so we will choose this title. Okay, so for okay, so not for, it's if the driver dot title is equals to that particular title, right? So let me just go over here and go into inspect, and let's find out the title under this head tag. You can see the title is actually, yeah, you can see this is the title. Okay, I'm just copying this one and paste it over here. Okay, perfect. And if this is the title, then we're going to print that the test case is successful. Okay, and also we are going to send the result over this excel file, this section, right? So for that we just need to write over here sheet dot cell, and the row is equals to r and the column is equals to I guess 3. Let me check. Yeah, it is in 3 column, right? So the column is 3 and that will be equals to any text. For example, I'll just write over here passed. Okay, that's it. So after writing this if statement, we also need to write if this process is not successful. Okay, in that case we just need to write over here else, and it will just print that the test case is failed. Okay, and as well as we also need to copy this line and change the, you know, this one as failed. But we also need to do one thing over here, that is after adding some column, or after adding some value, we have to save the excel file. Okay, so for that we will just need to write over here workbook dot save in this particular path, right? So copy this path name and paste it over here. Similarly, I just need to copy this total line and paste it over here. So now let's see what happened when it is not successful. Okay, so if you just write over here Selenium, and instead of writing the exact password, if you write any random value, and if you try to log in, well, you can see it is saying that the password is incorrect, but the username is still there, right? So after before sending this username, we just need to write one more line, that username dot clear, because we want to clear that particular section before sending that username. But the password section is already clear, so that there is no problem on that. And let me check the id. Yeah, the id looks same, there is no change on that. Perfect. So now we need to add one more thing, that if the test case is not successful, then we have to continue with this loop, right? With this for loop. But if the test case is successful, then we want to break this for loop, because we don't want to test anymore, right? If you have a long data in your Excel file, a long list of passwords, then obviously if you found the correct password, then obviously you don't need to continue this validation again and again, right? So we want to break this for loop. Okay, so yeah, I think it's perfect. And after performing all those things, we want to close this workbook, right? So workbook dot close, and similarly we want to close the driver, so driver dot close. Okay, so let's close this one, and let's close this browser as well, and let's merge the above cell and give it a waiting time of 3 seconds. Perfect. We also need to import the time, right? So over here, from time import sleep. Okay, so actually what it will be done, like let me open the file again for the last time. So for the first test case, it will show failed over here, right? And for the second test case, it will show passed over here. But after that, it will return nothing, because the for loop will be break. And yeah, we found the correct password, right? That is this one. So let me close this one and let's run it. Let's see whether it's working or not. Okay, there is an error, syntax error. Well, we are getting this error, that is because we have to write over here dot value, because you can't assign a value to a function, right? So you have to write dot value over here, dot value. Okay, so let's rerun this cell and see. So you can see it open this browser. Now it's loading that particular page. Now it should try with the first test case, and I guess that's fail. Okay, there is an error. Object none type has no length. Well, you can see that means it ran through the first test case, right? Because it is printing this test case is failure. But when it ran for the second time, it is showing this error. That is because the password section is already filled. So we will do one more thing, that is password dot clear over here. Okay, because maybe that section is already filled, that's why it is showing this error. And before that, okay, here I'll just make a waiting time of 3 seconds as well. Okay, so let's rerun this cell and see. So you can see it open this browser. Now it's loading that particular page, then it will maximize the screen. Now it will test case for the first one. Yeah, and I guess again an error. Okay, again an error. Well, yeah, it is showing this error, that is because we didn't put range over here, right? So it is a range between 2 and the total number of rows, right? So yeah, let's, before that I need to maybe delete this first one first, because it ran through the first test case and it is showing failed over here. So I need to remove this one and save this file, and let's close this one and let's rerun this cell again. So you can see it open this browser. Okay, it is now maximizing the screen and running through the first test case. Okay, So you can see it ran through all the test cases and it is showing failure for everyone. Okay, why is that? It should show the successful result in the second test case. So let's open this Excel file. You can see it is showing failure for everyone, but this one is correct one.
2000 years later.
So guys, you can see that I added this print statement over here so that we can see whether it is sending the exact data or not. So you can see it is sending the exact data, right? For the first case, test case, it is sending Selenium and then ABCD 1 2 3 4. Then here it is A is in capital. Okay, so but in the second case, it is showing this failure. That is because we mistake one thing, that after finding the submit button, we didn't click on that, right? So dot click should be over here, right? And let me go into the Excel file and let me delete all the values from here. Okay, so perfect. Now let's close this one and let's redone this cell and I'll make it comment over here. Perfect. So let's redone. You can see it open the browser. Now it should work properly. Okay, now it is sending the first test case and it is trying to log in, but it should test failure. Yeah, perfect. And after 2 seconds it will try to test for the second test case. Okay, there is an error. Okay, it is showing this error. Let me do one thing. I'll just cut it from here and paste it inside this for loop. Okay, and made it a indentation. Okay, okay, let me close this one. Let's read on this cell again. So now you can see it's successfully logged in, right? So yeah, now if you go into this code, now you can see, well, there is an again error. Okay, I got the error. After this line, we have to wait for few seconds. Okay, that's it. We don't need to do anything more. Okay, so let's close this one. Let's go into the Excel file and let's delete everything from here, these two failed cases, and let's save it. Perfect. So yeah, let's redone this in, and I think this is the last time because now it will work properly. Okay, so you can see this is the first test case and the login is error. Now it is sending the second test case and now it's successfully logged in, right? And now it closed. Yeah, now you can see for the first test case it is showing the test case is failed, but the for second test case it shows this test case is successful, right? So let's go into the login.excel. You can see the first one is failed but the second one is passed. Okay, so in this way you can perform these data driven test cases. Okay.